The topic today is streamers are trying to ruin the game already. This is kind of a common theme I've already seen online from a lot of people in my comment sections. I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it in chat, on streams. I've seen it basically anywhere. And we got some spectating randoms in the background. This is a topic I kind of wanted to talk about because I think a lot of people have misconceptions about it because it's basically false, right? And we'll go ahead and go through it. I'm sure plenty of you guys believe it's true. But I promise you, it's not even remotely true for multiple different reasons that we'll get into. So I find it a little bit more comical, a little bit like kind of hilarious because it's been proven that it's not true. Basically for the past 5 years that we've had a Warzone, and even prior to that with multiplayer, if you were a multiplayer player in zombies, same thing. Basically the things that creators ask for just never ends up in the game. It's just not how it works. One thing that does tend to happen though is when we do get new games like we've had with the integrations, when we've had early access to content, we give feedback and stuff like that, and some people will be a little bit more salacious so that it gets more clicks, because if the more impressions you get, generally you're going to make more money as a content creator. So people like maybe even rage baiting certain topics. So one common example that we've seen recently is there are creators that don't have a problem with one-shot sniping. Yes, it's annoying to die by a one-shot sniper on occasion. So maybe they'll make a claim like nerf the HDR, but they don't actually care about nerfing the HDR. It just is what it is. It's just because they know that they can bait that engagement and go, no, don't nerf my HDR. So I you know, that's part of it. Realistically, if you guys have been following me for a while, so obviously some of you guys are probably new, but the people that have been following me for a while, you know that when it comes to the meta, I recommend and I advocate for metas that where we should have around 15 to 20 different guns in the meta. How many times has that happened in the past 5 years? 0? So they ain't listening to me. So the reality is the creators are going to play this game regardless if it's good, bad, indifferent. So they don't actually factor in the consideration of what we think, because reality is most people that make content on the game are going to continue playing the game. So our people are like, it sucks every day. Damn, dude got run over. Vehicle warfare. See if we get an end game with vehicles like we did on the last one. It was kind of cool, actually. I ended up getting tweeted about that one because we ended up spectating somebody who follows the channel. Their son ended up being the one who won that match in the Vehicle Royale video we did a few days ago on the spectating randoms. He's like, hey, my son hit me up. He said, I got to win, finally. Sent him a screenshot. And then, coincidentally, the guy happened to follow the channel. So he saw the video and he's like, oh, it was my son. Hey, what a coincidence. So that was kind of a just cool thing to interact with. You know, the community is always the W. Like, there's a lot of those creators that will go out of their way to basically make negative content, but every day they're shilling the store like, ooh, new bundle. Oh my God, new bundle. This gun's meta, when it's absolutely not meta. This gun's a 2-shot kill, when it's absolutely not a 2-shot kill. Just clickbaiting for views and engagement, and they're playing the game every day. So when it comes to the devs, they give 0 Fs about what creators thinks of the game. That's not how it generally works. Pretty weird loadout here. What the hell? John McClane as a Ninja Turtle. The C9. Okay. All right. The reality is that the game will never see significant changes like we saw in the past. I think the devs thought they got really creative with Warzone 2, try to reinvent the wheel. Casuals didn't ask for that. Sweats or pros didn't ask for that. And it just made the game unfun. And they basically gave us a new game. It wasn't Warzone. It wasn't the Call of Duty Battle Royale Warzone that most people fell in love with. Even though there was a little bit of staleness towards the end of Verdansk the first time around, there was a lot of staleness because there was lack of content, lack of map changes, lack of a lot of other things that weren't necessarily the base foundation of the game. And they tried to do a 180 and reinvent the wheel, hoping they'd strike lightning would strike twice, and that didn't happen. So I think all they need to continue to do, and I think most people generally agree with this, is just continue to make the game fun without drastically changing anything. Utilize LTMs for fun, unique game modes if they want to do increased health in iron trials or titanium trials with the plate mechanics. Do it there. Buff more guns so we do get the 15 to 20 guns in the meta, whereas right now we're closer to like 7-ish. Actually double that number, right? Get us up to 15, 16, a little bit more than double. And that's kind of generally how it works. I think when they did the Warzone 2, they kind of forgot what the game was, and they just didn't make the game that we wanted to play. They tried to be a PUBG or whatever other knockoff battle royale that wasn't COD. It stopped feeling like COD. And Modern Warfare 2 did a lot of this too. And I think that was driven by IW. I don't know if it was just specific people in charge that made those decisions and they thought they were good because they hit a home run the first time around. But obviously it didn't work. A lot of people dropped away from the game. They fell off. And I think they've already done a bunch of subtle changes that make this version of Verdansk better than the original in a lot of ways. Still worse in some ways, I think. I think there's a little bit... Still, the recoil's not where it needs to be. I think some of the bullet velocity's not where it needs to be. I think the movement's not quite as snappy as it could be. This is a loadout, dog. What are we watching here? Double launcher? Bro, this guy's on demon time. Holy. But it's just kind of how it goes, right? I think what also happened for a while there is they always tried to like make changes for one group or another, right? And I think their main target is usually the casuals, which makes sense, right? That's the biggest money maker. There's more casuals than there are pros, and then pros are going to be there regardless of how the game is. So it's ideal to, theoretically, it would be ideal to just focus on casuals. But the problem is basically 99% of the changes they ever made for casuals ended up backfiring, and they ended up benefiting top players and pro players and sweats more because they were able to min-max those things. So back in the day, vehicles were the meta, just like they are kind of now. They're not quite as good as they were back in the day because we had the Bertha even in solos before they removed it. Then they limited the spawn. They did a bunch of different stuff. Then they nerfed launchers. They nerfed C4. And all the goal was because good players were utilizing these mechanics too effectively and killing players too frequently, too often, and they were just getting abused because all you need to do is drive by as someone unloads their magazine on you. Then when you jump out and start firing at them, they're caught reloading, easy kill. Generally better players abuse these mechanics, and they did everything they did to nerf this into the ground. An unintended side effect of that, or consequence, was now average and below average players were struggling to rotate in the zone. They had less utility. The vehicles just were not as good. So people were dying at a higher pace to the gas, getting held out by players. Less opportunity to actually move around the map. So they went ahead and they introduced zips, balloons. We had balloons and drones, and those were another utility to be able to get around the map more effectively. And of course that did help, but here come the good players. They learn how to utilize those mechanics to get around the map much faster and wipe the lobby that much more effectively. And now casuals are dying too frequently because although SBMM does kick in and give you sweatier lobbies, like you're not going to get 150 sweats in a lobby. That's just not how matchmaking works. There's not enough people in the world. Even at the game's peak, it just doesn't work that way. You'd still be waiting a pretty long queue, just like ranked play should have, like 5-10 minute queues for that level of competitiveness in the lobby. So they do that, and then now they notice that casuals aren't even making it past the mid game. So what do? They go, you know what? Let's give them some token. Oh, this is gonna be sick. Oh, you missed the dude. He's right below you. You might get this one though. This is fire playstyle, bro. We haven't seen a play. Oh, he's missing. This is cancerous, but at least this dude is having fun, bro. So what they do, they add the tokens. Well, now the sweats, if they get killed by someone that's ratting in a corner, hiding out, catches someone off guard, they come back and they're more likely to abuse those mechanics because they're better players. So it's always been this domino effect where initially it sounds like a good idea on paper that this should be good for casuals, but it doesn't end up working that way. So the reality is they just need to keep it super simple and really keep the competitive stuff in the competitive area, which is perfectly fine. I think that they probably should listen to content creators or really sweaty players that are gonna be playing ranked, because casuals aren't really leaning towards the ranked side of it. So that maybe you should work on that. Maybe no one-shot sniping in there. Maybe, like they've already mentioned, they're already gonna add plates in the gulag for ranked. That's already coming. They'll have the zips. They'll have a few other things that are specifically for ranked that they already know and have already planned out. The zone placement will probably be a little bit better for ranked. And that's fine for competitive. But the reality is you just need to keep it simple, keep it fun. And that's the key ingredient, right? Is this change going to be fun? Not necessarily is it targeted to specifically casuals, or if it's specifically targeting sweats. Because I think the reality is if you focus just on making the game fun, it's going to be good for everybody on paper, right? But like we saw with the other example, it could easily get out of hand. This guy does not play the game, right? He just, this is how he plays, right? Building rooftop. This is somebody, he's going to be hiding out. Level 55, maxed out, only 25 round mag on his AMAX. Cooking. This launcher's kind of, oh, here it is. Oh, he missed. You got to get better with this, dog. Okay, this guy's got a sniper, which we know is the meta right now. Got to plate up.
You're losing ground. Move it.
5 minutes on gulag, gets his chance to reload. Still needs to plate. Crosshair placement a little low. And I think that's the other part too, is they got in the habit of trying to just overbalance the game. And obviously there's instances where things need to be fixed, or like if there's a bug, or if there's something like this legitimately broken that will ruin the gameplay loop. Sure, bring some awareness, patch that so the game works as intended. But I think sometimes they go out of their way to like just nerf too many things, make things unfun to play and ruin it. And a lot of people will blame streamers when, like I said, they honestly don't care what streamers think. They don't care what content creators think. Because guess what? For those 3 years, I still uploaded. Not as often as I would, but not as often as now, for sure. But there's creators that uploaded 2 times a day, every single day, for 3 years, and they hated the game. Bought every bundle in there. You think they're going to cater to that group of people? Psh. They're catering to the people that are coming back, right? Which coincidentally is mostly casuals, I would imagine. A lot of casuals coming back to the game. I don't know what this guy's doing. He's just chilling, waiting for audio cue. He's got the prox mines down or whatever. One thing also, a side note, I know sometimes people were like, oh, this is just kind of a funny side note, just because it's just kind of how it works, is a lot of times what would happen is I would already know like a change is going to happen, or I have a pretty good estimate of what changes will happen because I've been making content long enough. I see, what, 1,000 comments a day on videos now, and we have all of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch when I'm live, and I get to see a general consensus of what most people think. Obviously, the community is very, very large, so it'll never be 100%. Like, I could say that if we just remove plates from Battle Royale, there are people in the comments that would think that that's a good idea. I know the vast majority don't think that's a good idea, but I know that there are people, and the community is so massive with Call of Duty that you're going to always get those types of people. That's fine, right? They got to be able to pick and choose out of, you know, the community and pick what's going to be like the path of least resistance when it comes to changes. And what I've seen, I think it's very improbable that they make significant changes to the game at any point. They'll keep this as the base. They're not going to make any waves. It seems like they understand that the general audience is, this guy's ready for the next vehicle, bro. This is actually insanity. If he actually hits one, though, that'd be sick. He's got to line it up. Wait for them to get back in. Oh, here he goes. No, you... It didn't kill him. Why did he get a call? Vehicle destroyed. It didn't even destroy it. What kind of trash is that? Buff the RPGs. Buff the HE1. That this dude just like... This is not for me, my play style. But if you're looking to have some fun, they got some stuff going on. Oh, he's trying to line it up. Is he gonna miss? See, if he had better ability to line up his shot with centering. Too late, out of ammo, no munitions. See, this play style, you should definitely, if you're looking to actually commit to this, he should have already had a full munitions with the money they have, 3,500. Or if they need more, they should be able to stock up so they have the munitions. And maybe even pop two. You buy one so you get fully stocked, and then you buy a second one so that you have that on your backup. But what I was getting back to before is sometimes I would know a change is coming, or I can highly predict a change is going to come into the game. And what I would do is I would sometimes cover the topic relatively close to when I knew it, like I had kind of a good feeling something would change. And sometimes people would give me credit like, oh, see, they saw your video and they changed it. And I was like, well, that's not exactly what happened. That plan was changed already, like planned out already like 4 weeks out. It wasn't me, but thanks for the credit. Like, so I think that happened a lot in Warzone 1 and a little bit in Warzone 2, especially when I would cover something. Sometimes within 12 to 24 hours, it would get changed. But usually from being around for a while, I have usually a good ability to predict some of the changes that are going to happen. Like if you asked in the comments, like, is this likely to happen? I could probably comfortably tell you whether something's going to happen or not, just from experience and where I think they want to continue taking the game and not changing the game. The only thing that we're really unsure of, and I'm still on the fence about, is what they're going to do when it comes to the next integration, because obviously we already know BO7 is the game coming out, or whatever they're going to call it. It's another Black Ops game. Got sniped, only have 2 plates. Slides off there, gets out, and destroyed. All that for what, bro? They probably had a lot of fun, though, even though they didn't kill anybody. This guy's using the car, which has a one-shot damage range, which is okay. But the HDR is still too goated. I don't think they improved very much, but here we are. Guys, 4 kills, heartbeat sensor. 3 LTVs in the zone right in front of us. See if they use any of those to rotate. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but just to set you at ease, regardless of what content creators are saying about the game, the devs do not care. Ay, ay, ay. All right, so will we get a vehicle royale? Okay, gets a 3-plater. Nice, nice. Getting sniped across the room. Does have 18,000. It is a bugged UI where we don't know if they have a UAV or a precision or stuff like that. Generally, you want a precision in the back pocket if you're sniping. Especially in solos. Considering their heartbeat sensor will act as their UAV. At least for close proximity. So they got their AK, which obviously we've seen is the hard meta for up close. I think this one, just for perspective, I thought they would have done it this past week, but I think the AK will get nerfed in the first damage range so that it gets closer to like a 625, 650 TTK. And I feel pretty confident that that'll happen in the near future. And with that, it'll still be very dominant and very useful for sniper support, but it won't be like able to just take out the SOG, it won't be able to take out all the SMGs like easily. You'll have to maybe put a little bit of move in there and dodge some shots, right? Which we'll see kind of how that part goes. I think the HDR will probably get a slight nerf to more flinch to snipers. They'll probably buff the other snipers. At least that's my hope. And then I think the HDR, they'll make it so that it'll be 3 body shots instead of 2. And then that'll help where you're rewarded for a headshot instead of, oh, I hit them on the run and I hit them again on the run and I happen to kill them without a headshot. And then hopefully we get a little bit of buff to the long range meta. So they do have the cluster. See, we didn't know that they had something. A little bit of an odd placement because they placed it on themselves. Very odd placement. Unless they knew somebody was there. Gonna come up around the flank. Kind of a really odd placement. At least they get the rooftop here. This could actually be a really good zone for them. There's still 10 other players though. It's inaccessible from the ground this side. So there's either people up here. Oh, and you get more in the zone. There's someone downstairs on the right side, and there's 2 people fighting in front of them. You can see him. He was just right there. He jumped. You can see the red dot on the mini map. This person's probably gonna die. I feel like they don't want a straight gunfight. Like this gun seems like it has more. Oh, impact grenade, you're dead. Bro he was not ready for the end game, dog. Holy. What did it down? 539. We got Sci-Shift.
4 remaining.
Okay, Kilo. Nice. They have it built like an M13 though. Or at least that's the way the body looks. So you got sniped from down low. Is in the zone, so you shouldn't over chow. They might be aggressive though. They only have 9 kills. The people will fight down low. It really depends on where this zone pulls. Hopefully they have a streak for the rotation. Only 3 other players. If it would pop up, we don't necessarily see it all the time. There's 2 fighting down low. So we know that there's 1 here and then there's 1 down low to the right. So they know where all 3 players are if they've been paying attention. Super aggro. This is super risky. Nice. So now you know the person's below you. They could either come around this right side or like that's it. The freest win ever. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.